Ground Radio. New voices amplified.
Black a royal generation with no equal. Mr. Government, you know we're in a pickle. Where our chance of rising up is cement diesel. Take your place in this front line. Raising up the base of our drum line. This is not a race, it's a timeline. Controlling your pace like the fine wine. Nehanda. Sipping mizo yogutanda. Nehanda. Sipping mizo yogutanda. Nehanda. Sipping mizo yogutanda. Nehanda. Sipping mizo yogutanda. Build your stone house, no mortar and no sigil. Pleasant conversation dissecting this evil. Black and proud is calm and...
Greetings, thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to Ground New Voices Amplified. This is the platform that gives you some of the amazing new voices from Zimbabwe. And today I'll be speaking to a voice from Kobulawayo. He's super talented. I love his vibe. He's got a very good vibe, sound that I think the world needs to hear. I'll be speaking to none other than King BL. What's up, man?
Yeah. What's up? What's up, Plot? How you doing, man? Hello, everyone.
Nice one, nice one. Tell me about that energy. Where do you get that energy? Because I feel it even in your songs.
Yo, bro. That's an interesting first question. I think it's just comes from my abundant optimism. Like I always look at the silver side of everything, even in the darkest of times. I know from experience that you do come out at the end of that dark period. And also, speaking about dark times, you know, those are the times that actually make the man. So I am the man I am today because of the darkness, but I choose to find light because, there's so much darkness everywhere. So that's why I'm always...
Great. But let's talk a bit about the man that King BL is before you became King BL. Take us back a bit into your childhood, your upbringing, neighborhood, the community. What sort of things were you exposed to as a kid that initiated your interest in music?
So I've always had a love for music I remember as far back as when, my first Christmas that I can remember. I used to be Mtwana Lwana, where my dad would call me into the room when all the relatives are in there and they're like, sing that song, and it would be a Bon Jovi song that's playing,
Yes.
And I used to sing along to all the jingles and stuff. So when I went to primary school, I remember it was mandatory. We moved into this new class in grade 5, and it was mandatory that everyone sings in the choir because the lady was the choir mistress, Mrs. Chombo. And, so I fell in love with singing. And weirdly enough, I was the only guy who was singing soprano at that time. Remember, I was the only guy who got the choir badge, which was a big deal for me.
Oh, nice.
School.
You bring so many memories there because I'm one guy who was told, I think this is not meant for you. I made an attempt at both percussion and the choir, and I didn't make the cut.
I know what you mean. And what's worse is kids. And I guess people in that time, they're very judgmental, They don't really give kids the opportunity to fully express themselves. But I was a little fortunate in the sense that though my dad was strict, he was the one person who picked up that, no, this guy, he's got a passion for music. So much so when I was going to Form 1, He asked me, do you want to go to Mzingwane or do you want to go to Hillside Arts, that old art center that was at Mziligazi, you remember?
Yes.
And I chose Mziligazi, and he was like, "You're mad." Yes.
Wow.
So, but then that also carried into, sorry, my phone is ringing. That also carried into high school, because I went into, I was a very quiet person, Plot. You know, I didn't hang out. I wasn't cool. I wasn't sporty. I wasn't tall. I wasn't Ndebele. I wasn't Shona. So, you know, I was, you know, I was a person on my own.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I pretty much went through high school just being a loner. But my love for music stayed, because I was in the choir. And then fast forward after high school, you know, that's when I found myself, because I then decided, you know, you can't be this person anymore. You can't be this timid, shy person all your life. You have to own your space. So I invented this pseudonym, King Bill, because also that was a call to action to myself, to say, bro, you are a king, you know, you are a king. And as a king, how do you bolster your kingdom? How do you grow what is the crop of the country? And my crop of the country was music and arts and stuff like that. So, I've done so many things. I sang in a band which was predominantly white, and we used to sing rock and roll, but that was church rock and roll. And we traveled Zim, going to schools, ministering. That was called Live Out Loud.
Yes.
And after that, so many things, bro. Like, I then worked for an NGO, governmental organization called Young Life, for 8 years, volunteering, also going to camps, singing to kids. So the love for music has always been in my space. Even though I've never made money from it, it's always been in my space. Whenever I move to a new city or a new environment, I always carry that energy with me. Like, the last place that I was out of the country was in Cape Town, and I was performing regularly at the Intimate Theatre there. Wine Thursdays, I'll be performing at the art galleries for free, going to the promenade with my friend, and we'll just play the guitar, you know. So, yeah, so that's pretty much me up until now.
Wow. That's quite some rich musical legacy there. Like, you have so much to tell about your life in music. And the BL, what does this stand for?
So my name is William. My name is William Dogozo Sampindi. So from most in the English language, if your name is William, you can be Bill. Yeah. So my stage name is actually King Bill. But what I did was I removed all the I's, all the vowels in that name.
Nice.
There was a lot of self, you know. There was a lot of self in my music. I was self-absorbed. Even just in general, I was very self-absorbed. So I decided to take out the vowels and just stick to what is my core, which is King Bill. Yeah.
Great. And fast forward,
Yep.
what are you currently working on? We're going to touch a bit about the Voice2Rep project, but what are you currently working on? What's on your table right now?
I'm excited to tell people, actually. So me with my 5 partners, we started a digital marketing agency in Bulawayo called 14th Avenue.
Super awesome. You know what? I went through the magazine that you guys produced.
Yeah.
Man, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. I was talking to a friend of mine, Ricardo.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's actually the one who showed me the copy. He says, look, check out some works. And I'm like, you guys are on another level. That's super impressive, I must say.
Thank you. Yeah, man. You know, that's the thing. That's the culture we're trying to bring into Bulawayo. So at the house, we have a lot of artists who come to the house, because we've opened it up as almost like up, but a very controlled environment, because we want to equip people as to be able to know how to commercialize the art. And that's what's killing a lot of artists. You've got, bro, I'm telling you, amazingly talented people, musically, lyrically, production-wise, video, etc., etc. And they don't have a platform or people who are willing to set free their motives. Because what you see with Blawayo in particular, I can't speak for Arayo, Blawayo, there's this culture of having to go through a gate, you see, and
but
having been out of the country.
Do these gates really exist? I mean, I've heard the talk around those gates and those that keep the gates. Do they really exist, or is imaginary?
You know what? It's not just metaphorical. We know that there are people who exist in that context, but it's also a case of understanding what it is you are trying to do. Because if you are trying to be on Mzebira or a government-sponsored gala, you know, then definitely you need to go through those channels, because those are the people who've been building networks and relationships in that space. But with the onset of the digital era, we can bypass completely that entire narrative by adopting new systems in how to access the clientele, who are the people who want to listen to the music. Let's be honest, you know, the people consume good music, you know, and depending on whether you are visible or not, people will either consume or not consume. So that's what it's about. It's like you, for instance, you take the time to make sure that this platform you've created is, one, digital, two, accessible, but relevant to the time. I find that a lot of artists are. I was having a conversation with T Wanda not even an hour ago, and we were chatting about context. We're talking about context and how to build a brand. People don't know how to build brands. So this is where we come in as 14th Avenue. We assist with content creation. We assist with support, either is it technical or just physical presence, just talking to people, encouraging them, letting them know that the Zimbabwean evolution is, the renaissance of Zimbabwean arts is at hand, and you need to be positioned very well. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite profound. I can totally relate there. And what I find quite interesting is that you're not only talking about these things, but these are things that you're already practicing. And I've seen your works quite impressive. And I think it's something that should actually dominate, this is my personal feeling, that it should dominate the spaces where young people are conversing. But somehow I think not only Tublawa, but also in Harare, you find at times the young people, their energies are elsewhere. But anyway, moving forward, you got to be selected to be part of the 10 artists that worked on the project. Voice2Rep, you know, and you're part of the album Freedom. Super cool album. I was talking earlier on to Vestless, the producer, and we're discussing, and he was saying, look, man, this was a very interesting experience because I got to work with artists with different energies, different levels. But the most, captivating thing was everybody had a unique story to tell. And you did the song, Nehanda.
Yes, sir.
So just tell us a bit about the process that was involved in creating the whole album, you being part of the process. And I watched the video, the boot camp and stuff, what this process did to you and why it was important for you to put your voice on such a project that is very socially conscious.
It ties in. First of all, as a marketing man, I've learned that do not work with brands who don't speak the same voice, you know, because you get lost in translation. So with the socially conscious aspect of the whole competition, that was my buy-in, because I believe in philanthropy, and I believe in philanthropy. I believe that philanthropy is not something that always requires money. It requires effort, just from the perspective. So me being a budding philanthropist, I figured this was something I definitely needed to put my 2 cents in, not just to inspire whomever was to listen to the music had I been selected, but also to inspire myself to keep evolving and being humble enough to be able to say, hey, listen, I'm still learning and I'm still growing. I'm very open to receive new perspective, no matter what my experience is, because the industry is way, way broader than just one individual or one space. So to talk about how the competition was incepted, like I enjoyed the fact that they put effort in the marketing first of all.
Yes.
They did graphics. They reached out to influencers and engaged with them and asked the influencers to endorse the brand. So when a brand is endorsed by an influencer, that thing shows you almost like it's a good selling point. People I knew, and it was people I respect. So yeah, I then submitted without an intention to be selected, but also to support the cause. I remember my main call was to just say, I want to support. I want to be one of the thousands who did apply, so that the numbers make sense. And this was my first time ever submitting for a competition of this kind. And lo and behold, I was selected as one of the 10 finalists. Beautiful process, because from the jump, we were then, almost like acclimatized to what the show is going to be like. And we were also notified about the COVID restrictions and how they were going to handle everything considering that particular context. And they handled it beautifully from the time we did the first shoot for Shoko Festival, for the Shoko performances. We were ferried to and from our homes. And even though I was suffering a loss, like someone I cared for passed away during that period.
So sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. But it was an experience where they made you feel comfortable. And just to prove that, when we did then travel to Harare, the experience was incredible, bro, because we were hosted like kings and
The kings, a befitting for a king.
we were treated 5-star, beyond 5-star in my book.
Wow.
Befitting.
Yeah.
And that's what you also need to feed the man. You can't always just be feeding the soul of which is the music, but you need to feed the man so that all he has to do is focus on the music. So that's what they did. They took away all possible inhibitions that might come up, like good transport, good accommodation, security, lack of bias, because we were told from the jump that this is a free creative space. You can do whatever you want. And also the training programs that they put us through, they were amazing, because we got to talk about financial management. We got to meet people from the teachers union. We met guys who taught us about team building. Us in our own self were working on our own team building skills, because you met these 10 people for the first time. So now you have to be in a space where you're collaborating effectively so that the whole capsule is coming out one sound. So yeah, that's it.
Wow, great. And let's talk about Nehanda. Why Nehanda?
Yeah. So I named that song on purpose. So initially when they gave us the time to write, I remember I wrote a completely different song. I wrote a completely different song, completely different arrangement. And as we went through the boot camp and as I was being challenged to speak more deliberately, about the things that matter to me, not be too concerned about how or why, just speak about what I care about. And my dad is from the Eastern Highlands, but he's not Shona, and my mom is from Bulawayo. So always I've grown up as the jam, in between bread and white bread, so to speak. So I never did fit in. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I called it Nehanda because I'm a Bulawayo person, right? And I was challenging that status quo that has to say, umuntu wakobulawayo akahlabeli ngesishona, akahlabeli ngesishona. And that's why I deliberately gave it that tag. Nehanda for me was a jab at tribalists. So it was a deliberate jab to people. In case you were wondering, this is a matter of fact that I can add Shona into a Ndebele song and then tie it all with English. because I put all three languages. I feel like they were represented in this. So for me, it was also not just a message of saying, give us the willpower to love each other, but it was also to say, you know what, stop all the nonsense of isms, tribalism, racism, segregation, separation. You know, stop judging people because of what you assume is the right thing. So I was challenging more than just the typical government blah 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 rhetoric. I was challenging the mind of the people first. Yeah.
Wow. That's quite powerful. And what's the future? What's next? Are we going to see you drop more socially conscious songs? Or this is the end of it, you did it for the project? Or it's something that lives in you?
Yo, Brad, you know what? I will never stop making music. We have actually set up a studio here at the house. But to answer your question more directly, this is not the end of my musical journey, because my musical journey is way, way bigger than just making. It's about breeding the youth for me. It's about building the culture. It's about building sustainability, because I don't want to keep making music that doesn't sell. I want to make music that's going to open the right doors and create the right connections. So, no, I'm not done with music, but also I'm pausing on creating music so that I can assist other very talented artists who deserve the time. And right now, I've still got the resource and the capability. So I'm definitely going to pushing others first. And like, for instance, we've been working with this very talented artist called Kyla Black. Amazing things have been happening with Kyla Black. I can't talk about them because of non-disclosures, but incredible things, bro. In a very not really short space of time, but we've been working with her for the last 4 years, and building her brand and preparing her for what is to come. And we also work with Murphy Cubic.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. I sampled a couple of songs that he did for MJ Sings and also for Joy. And this guy is on another level.
You know, Murphy Cubic is an international producer.
He is.
I always tell him that you are not one-dimensional. He went multi-platinum with Holly Ray's song. So that just shows you how diverse he is and how relevant his sound is, you know. And also there's another artist called One Nemo Jose that we're helping out.
Okay.
There's another boy from Magwegwe West called Chuck the Lunatic. So these are artists that we know are rock stars, but because of either lack of finance, lack of training, lack of support, they can't fully express themselves. So me and the team, we've taken it upon ourselves to say, you know what, we're going to dedicate our lives to make sure that we.
Wow. Great. I think I'll need to have another day where we talk mainly about the house, about the 40th project and what you guys are doing, and meet the team, and also, talk in detail, because I feel these are some of the things that need to be highlighted. Spaces where young people can be and be able to be creative at their most and gain and learn something. Yeah. Wow.
Do you know, Plot,
Yes.
if I can quickly add, because I want to use your platform well to get our message out.
Great,
the thing Flower needs believers. It doesn't need mbingas. It needs people who are going to say, you know what, I'm committing my time and my resource to just assist young kids. Because right now, even we are working on anti-litter campaign. We're working on anti-poaching campaigns. We're working on conscientizing local Black communities about embracing that entire tourism drive. And at the core of all these anti-this, anti-that, is the youth. We need to secure the future for the youth. And if you look at what's happening in our country, you have old people who are more concerned about their loins more than the future old, So for me, it's about continually people embracing digital first, and also just breaking the isms, and supporting local talent. Because you'll find someone is listening to Casper Nyovest. I know people who make beautiful music more than Casper Nyovest. And what's interesting about Casper Nyovest is is being produced for by a Zimbabwean person.
Yes, true.
So that shows you we've got the talent, we've got the pool, we just don't have the support from our fathers.
More support from our fathers. And if you listen to the song Nehanda, you definitely pick the message. This is the call that is being made in that track. Such a beautiful track. And for me as a reggae fan, I love the melody because it has got that deep reggae vibe. Definitely check it out. I will drop the link in the comment section so that you can actually check out the song. It's on YouTube. It's on all the social media platforms. It's on Spotify. It's on SoundCloud. It's on... You find it everywhere. Just look out for Freedom, Voice2Rep. That's the album. And they promised to bring another project, and definitely look forward to that. So yeah, thank you so much, KNG BL. It's been awesome. It's been great speaking to you. And this is not going to be the end of it. I definitely look forward to a conversation with you and your team more about the innovation hub that you guys are running there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Plot. Huge shout out to Magamba Network, huge shout out to Earground Radio, huge shout out to Accountability Lab, huge shout out to Restless, the producer, huge shout out to Zwiro, everyone who was involved. It was an amazing experience and it should be replicated for years to come. Thank you so much.
Great, it was an amazing experience indeed. I'm going to show you a snippet from the making of the project, just like a few seconds, and then later on we can show the whole video. So until next time, my name is Plot Mhako. I'm out.
Let me talk a little bit about my people. Black a royal generation with no equal. Mr. Government, you know we're in a pickle. Where our chance of rising up is cementeasable. Take your place in this front line. Raising up the base of our drum line. This is not a race, it's a timeline. Controlling your pace like the fine wine. Nehanda, sipping miso yogurtanda. Nehanda, sipping miso yogurtanda. Nehanda, sipping miso yogurtanda. Nehanda, sipping miso yogurtanda. Build your stone house, no mortar and no sigil. Pleasant conversation dissecting this evil. Black and proud is culminating, we are equal. Cut the color separation to the mean.